We all think we know vitamin C, right? It's in our orange juice, we take it when we get a cold. But the real story is so much bigger than that. It's actually a 40-million-year-old mystery about a genetic glitch, a really clever evolutionary workaround, and what it all means for your health today. Okay, let's dive right in.
So let's start with a puzzle. Ever wonder why you don't have to give your cat or your dog a vitamin C supplement? It's because, like most mammals out there, their bodies are just constantly making all the vitamin C they need, day in and day out. But we can't. Not a single drop. Why is that? What makes us, and our primate cousins, the odd ones out? This one question is the key to unlocking a fundamental and kind of weird quirk in our own biology.
So, here's where we're headed in this explainer. We're going to start with the vitamin gene we literally lost millions of years ago. Then we'll explore our body's strange little backup system. After that, we'll connect all that ancient history to how we can shield ourselves against aging, and we'll focus specifically on our heart, brain, and vision. And finally, we'll get to the big question. What's the right dose of vitamin C for us today? Our story really begins with a genetic accident. Our inability to make vitamin C isn't some special feature. It's a bug, a very old bug that happened to our distant ancestors, and it completely changed our relationship with food forever. This right here shows you the huge split in the animal kingdom. On one side, you've got most mammals, cats, dogs, cows, you name it, just happily making their own vitamin C, all thanks to a working gene called gulo. But on our side of the family tree, it's a totally different story. For humans, apes, and monkeys, our version of that gulo gene is broken. It's basically a fossil in our DNA that just doesn't work anymore. And it all comes down to this one thing, glulo. Think of making vitamin C like a factory assembly line. Glulo is the worker at the very last station, the one who does the final, most important step. Well, for our ancestors, that worker walked off the job about 40 million years ago, and our vitamin C factory has been shut down ever since. That means we are 100% dependent on our diet to get this essential nutrient. But, evolution is pretty clever. Losing such an important function, that sounds like a total disaster, right? Well, there's a really popular theory that suggests after we lost the ability to make one key antioxidant, vitamin C, evolution might have found a way to crank up the production of another one to serve as a backup. This timeline shows how the whole story played out in two parts. First, like we saw, the glulo gene breaks, somewhere around 40 to 65 million years ago. But then, millions of years later, a second gene breaks down in our ape ancestors. This one for an enzyme called uricase, and that second event caused something called uric acid to skyrocket in our blood. Is that a coincidence? Maybe not. Now, uric acid is normally just a waste product, but it also happens to be a really powerful antioxidant. And in us humans, our levels are way higher than in most other mammals. Why? Well, precisely because we lost that uricase enzyme that would normally get rid of it. So the idea is this. We lost antioxidant A, which was vitamin C, and our bodies compensated by jacking up the levels of antioxidant B, which is uric acid. And this isn't some newfangled idea. Way back in 1981, a really important scientific paper laid out this exact hypothesis, that our high levels of uric acid became a key part of our defense system against the kind of damage that leads to aging and cancer, basically stepping in to do the job that vitamin C used to do. Okay, so a broken gene, a quirky backup, what on earth does all this ancient history have to do with us right here, right now? Well, it turns out, everything. It's all about a daily battle that our bodies are fighting, a battle that leads directly to aging and chronic disease. Every single day, your cells are being attacked by these unstable molecules called free radicals. This constant assault is called oxidative stress. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like rust forming on a car. It's this slow, steady process of decay that damages our cells from the inside out. And antioxidants, like vitamin C, are basically our body's rust proofers. And the stakes in this battle are incredibly high. This cellular rust isn't just a neat little metaphor. It's a key player in the aging process itself. And it's linked to some of the biggest health challenges we face as we get older, like heart disease, a decline in brain function, and even vision problems like cataracts. So that brings us to the practical part. Since we have this genetic handicap, how can getting enough vitamin C actually help protect us against these specific age-related problems? Let's take a look at what the science says for our heart, our brain, and our vision. First up, the heart. Keeping our blood vessels flexible and healthy is absolutely crucial for our cardiovascular wellness. And this is one area where vitamin C seems to play a really direct role, especially as we get older. And get this, when we're talking about heart health, the dose really seems to matter. Research has found that taking more than 500 milligrams of vitamin C a day can improve something called endothelial function. That's just a fancy term for the health and flexibility of the delicate lining inside our blood vessels. And this benefit seems to be particularly important for older adults. Okay, next, let's talk about the brain. Our brain is an energy hog. It uses a ton of oxygen, which makes it especially vulnerable to that oxidative stress, that cellular rust we were talking about. So does extra vitamin C help protect it?
Well, the evidence here is a little more complex. Studies have found a link, a correlation. People with Alzheimer's disease often have lower levels of vitamin C in their blood. But, and this is a big but, we don't have solid proof yet that taking supplements can actually prevent the disease. So for now, the main takeaway seems to be that just avoiding a deficiency is a really smart move for healthy brain aging.
And finally, our eyes. The lens of the eye is another spot in the body that takes a lifetime of oxidative damage, and that damage can cause it to get cloudy over time, which is what we call cataracts. And the science here is pretty clear about where vitamin C can help and where it can't. On the plus side, a higher intake of vitamin C from your diet is consistently linked to a lower risk of developing age-related cataracts. That's great news. But, on the other hand, the data just doesn't show that it helps with another common eye condition, age-related macular degeneration. So all of this leads us to the million-dollar question. How much should we actually be taking? Well, the answer really depends on what your goal is. Are you just trying to prevent a disease from the 1700s? Or are you aiming for optimal health right here in the 21st century? All right, let's start with the official government recommendation, the RDA. For most men, it's 90 milligrams a day, and for women, it's 75. Now, it is crucial to understand what these numbers are for. They are scientifically calculated to do one job and one job only, to prevent you from getting the horrible deficiency disease called scurvy. They were never designed for optimal antioxidant protection. But there's a very different way to look at this. The Linus Pauling Institute, which is a major research center in this field, argues for a different goal. Not just avoiding disease, but achieving full antioxidant protection. And to do that, they recommend 400 milligrams a day for adults. They also point out that this might be especially important for older adults who are at a higher risk for chronic diseases. So we end right back where we started. We are all walking around with the consequences of a genetic glitch that happened millions of years ago. A glitch that makes us completely dependent on our food to provide a defense system that most other animals just make for themselves. So the question this leaves all of us with is a personal one. Is your diet doing enough to fix that ancient flaw?